Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. So today I do have a drink. I have a coffee actually. It's from this bagel place nearby me that has iced. So the cubes are made out of coffee. Okay? So it's really nice because I sip on my coffees for hours, so it always melts. But this one, as it melts, it just adds more coffee. This is a toasted marshmallow iced coffee with toasted. Well, actually, the iced coffee is like graham cracker, marshmallow, something like s'mores. I don't know. And then the creamer was toasted marshmallow. It's a really good combo. And yeah, I love it because it gives me so much energy. And I have a lot of videos to film today. So the energy is much, much needed. Okay, kings and queens? Anyways, the theme for today's episode is cheating stories. You guys like the cheating stories. I can't help but look at what does best on my channel, and cheating stories is always one that does the best. So, also there's updates with every story. The title of the first story is My husband and I were walking in our neighborhood when a man stopped us in front of his house and claimed my husband was having an affair with his wife. My 62 female husband, 59 male, who I'll call Jay, have been together for 26 years, married for 25 and a half. He is one of the most wonderful people I know. I had a very rough, dysfunctional, abusive childhood. It took years of therapy and tons of support from Jay to get to the other side and really learn how to love and trust. I also have ADHD, OCD, and suffer from severe extreme anxiety and PTSD from my traumatic childhood. Jay has always been supportive and actually maintained a great sense of humor, especially with my ADHD. He actually was the one who suggested looking into a diagnosis. I was diagnosed about 10 years ago. We met when my daughter, 34, T, was 8 years old. I'd been a single mom to T, and we are very close. We went to family counseling right after we married, which was his suggestion because we wanted to assure that we integrated our family and learn how to do it with steps. To say that it has been amazing is an understatement. Jay and T love each other so much. It took a while, but we really worked at it. I tell you all of this to give a brief glimpse of why I trust Jay implicitly. We have gone through so much together. There were times that I thought there was no way he was going to stay, that this would be the straw that broke the camel's back. But he has never left my side. When this man stopped us, he asked my husband if he was having an affair with his wife. Both this man and his wife are well into their 80s. We thought he was joking at first, and both of us started laughing. We then realized that he was serious. At first, he tried to say that it occurred during lockdown for COVID while I was at work. I told him that that was impossible because I'm a teacher and I taught remotely from home for over a year. We asked him why he thought this was occurring, and he said that his wife, who is in late stages of Alzheimer's, confessed it to him. We asked if he knew a time frame when this supposedly occurred, as we have motion cameras around our house. Yes, I'm very paranoid. And we could get footage so that he could see that his wife has never been to our home. He said he didn't know and couldn't ask due to her Alzheimer's. This whole thing was so surreal. I was furious. I told him there was no way this happened and my husband would never purposely hurt me. He said that's what all people say when confronted. There was a lot more back and forth, but he refused to back down, even though there was absolutely no evidence other than a confession from a woman in late stages of Alzheimer's. I am not naive, nor am I blind. There are zero red flags. My husband treats me so well, and we do everything together. I 100% believe this so-called affair never occurred. My question is, what do I do now? Do I get a restraining order to assure that he stays away from us? Of all the crazy thing that has happened in my life, this has got to top the list. Am I wrong to want to get a restraining order against an 80-year-old man? Okay, well, first of all, I feel like I also believe him kind of, but at the same time, I'm a little bit tainted with the amount of Reddit stories I have read that just end up being not good and have not a good ending. But like, I'm a little bit confused, girl, because why do you want a restraining order against him? just because he came up to you guys and said that his wife admitted to an affair with your husband. I feel like that's not really a valid reason to get a restraining order. I understand feeling like unsafe and stuff and being worried about that because you have trauma and all of that, but I do think that is a little bit too far. I feel like this could be easily solved with some more chats and maybe like understanding more of the timeline, like, hey, I actually do need that timeline, because maybe even if you could get like if she could admit that, then wouldn't you want, like, why couldn't she say when it happened, or at least like the year that well, she said the year that it happened. I guess that'd be a lot of footage to go through, so I understand, but interesting. I don't know. I feel like it is hard because it's not really like a reliable source. She has Alzheimer's, so it's like, I don't think that in a court of law, not saying they're going to go to court, but like, I don't know, just using that as like a backing. I feel like in a court of law, that would not, you wouldn't be able to use her as a witness because she wouldn't be a reliable witness. Just like you can't use like a 4-year-old. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. I'm just saying this stuff out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure you can't. Because it's like not a reliable witness. It's like a 4-year-old that could be coerced so easily into saying something, or like remember things wrong because you're literally 4 and your brain is like is literally developing and forming. But anyways,
if you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
A relevant comment says, I mean, do you need a restraining order? You were in front of his house, right? Did he threaten you or say anything to make you think he would bother you? Maybe he's also very confused. And she said, yeah, he told Jay not to go near his property or he would be sorry. We honestly are just worried that he may own a firearm. It's impossible not to go near his property, and I don't want my husband hurt. I mean, that makes sense. I get that. I definitely think that there could be like so much more that you could do. I mean, you gotta like have more conversations with this guy. He seems really upset, so it might be hard to have more conversations with him because he's like, don't even come near my property, which you don't want to risk that because who knows what he's capable of. But there's an update, and it's the next day. I'm so sorry it took me forever to figure out how to edit this. I have no idea how to update. This is my first post. First, I'm reading all of the comments and taking them to heart. I read all of the time people thanking the Reddit community for their help and insight, and that is not a lie. You all have shared your stories and really educated me about these horrible disorders. I never realized how horrendous Alzheimer's and dementia are, and not only how they affect the person with the disorder, but the devastation this has on those that love them. You have helped to understand how this man and his wife need our compassion and grace. I did speak with a person in the neighborhood. I was worried about getting anyone involved officially because, as many pointed out, this could cause more harm than good. She assured me that they do have children and friends that do check on them, but she actually has not seen them around lately. She will reach out to them. Next, I was walking around our neighborhood. Some people suggested that I do not walk by their house, but that would be impossible. Think of like a thermometer shape. It is a long street with a cul-de-sac at the end, but in the middle is this big island with 5 houses on it. Anyway, at one point the gentleman knocked on his window and pulled the top down. He asked to speak with me. I said that may not be the best idea, as he essentially accused my husband of a horrendous crime. He said he would only take a few minutes and it was not something bad. I told him I would not go on his property, and I actually backed up to the middle of the street. He asked if I would be okay with going into his porch. And I said yes. He immediately apologized. He said my husband's demeanor was what made him realize that there was not any truth to what his wife said. He said what many of you have told me about Alzheimer's, and he realized that what his wife told him could not have occurred. I told him that I was so happy that he realized this because, after all, I had learned in the last 12 hours it was breaking my heart that this may be the last memory he had of the person he spent almost his whole life with. He thanked me, so I'm thanking all of you that made me realize compassion and grace should be the go-to. We actually then had a nice conversation. All together talked about 15-ish minutes. He asked me to apologize to my husband for him. I told him I would, and we said see you later. He had a really big smile on his face. Again, I do not think that this would have ended this way without all of your input, even those of you that called me a Karen. Laughing, crying emoji. That's okay. I used to teach at a behavioral school. I've been called worse. Okay, well, I'm so glad that didn't actually turn out to be a real cheating story and it was just an accusation. I feel so terrible for him. That's such a hard thing to go through. My grandma actually has Alzheimer's, or, oh, shoot. She has early onset. I don't know if it's dementia or Alzheimer's. Is dementia the same thing as Alzheimer's, but just in the earlier stages? I forget. And my mom literally worked with Alzheimer's and dementia patients, but I always forget. Like, I always get them too confused. But she's rapidly losing her memory, and she's still super young, like in her 70s, which to me is young, especially to get Alzheimer's. And she, it's really sad because so it's actually my step grandma, but like I think of them as my third set of grandparents because they were honestly there for me more than my dad's grandparents ever were. And I was definitely closer with them growing up than my dad's grandparents. And even now, like, my dad's grandparents don't call me for my birthday or anything, but my step grandparents do. And I've known them since I was literally like 3, like as long as I can remember even being alive. I've known them, and I've gone on vacations with like just them, just me and them, and like a lot of times. And yeah, so anyways, not that I have to like preface our relationship and say, but like that's why I call them my grandma and my grandpa, because I don't feel like they're my step grandparents at all. I feel like they're my real grandparents. But anyways, so my grandma actually lost her husband when my stepmom was 18. I wasn't even alive. I don't know why I'm like feel like I'm gonna cry because I feel so bad for like my stepmom and my grandma. But when my stepmom was 18, she lost her dad, and he actually unalived himself. And yeah, so obviously that was really hard. That was also my grandma's husband. And then she ended up getting remarried a few years later to my grandpa. That is my current grandpa. So it's not even my stepmom's real dad. It's her stepdad. So it's like my step grandpa, but still, I feel like he's family, even if we're not related. But yeah, so they've been married for a long time though. My stepmom is like 50 something, so they've been married for like 30 plus years now. So they've been together for a long time, and they were always like, I feel like they were the best version of love that I could have looked up to like growing up. I feel like they were probably the healthiest relationship that I witnessed growing up. So I feel like, I don't know, but they've just been like, they've always had like such a great relationship and been best friends, and they traveled a lot, and now they're kind of like settling down. In the past few years is when my grandma has been really starting to lose her memory a lot, like even just talking to her on the phone, which I haven't been able to see them in a while because every time I'm home for a holiday, it never lines up for when they're home because they're like snowbirds, so they like to like be moving back and forth and going on different little like trips and things like that. But yeah, even when they call me, like I usually just talk to my grandpa, and my grandma doesn't really have much to say anymore because I think it's like it's really sad. It's really sad. And I feel really terrible for my stepmom because I can't imagine like losing your dad so young and in such a horrific way. And then also like she's still so young, and she's slowly losing her mom, and her mom and her are like best friends. Like she's her only child. So my stepmom has like step siblings, but she doesn't have any like siblings that she grew up with. Like she was the only child her whole entire childhood up until her mom got remarried. But yeah, really, it's just really sad to think about. And Alzheimer's and dementia are so scary. Like it really scares me that I could possibly, like, anyone could get that. Like, that is just terrifying to me. And there needs to be more research done. But you could say that about a lot of things. The top comment says, Alzheimer's sucks. Turns your mind into a prison with the warden constantly starving you of memories until you're no longer who you were. Truly is a cruel disease, both for the ones suffering from it and for the family members. Ugh. I'm like sad. I feel so bad. Ugh. I literally cry at everything. It's actually so annoying. I can't. It's like, is what's even sad and what's not, because I cry at everything. I mean, that is actually sad, but like, there's so many things that sometimes I cry about that is just like not warranted. I mean, kind of, but like, come on. It's not that serious. Sometimes that was definitely serious. All right, we're going to move on. And the next story is titled Boyfriend 26 Male Leaving Me 24 Female to Go to Antarctica. I'll make this short and sweet. We've been together 8 months. Things moved fast for us. We live together and we are both in love. I'm in nursing school and he's working on his master's. He just landed an amazing opportunity. He has a job offer to go to the South Pole for research. He'll be gone for a year. I really don't want to stop him from going, and this opportunity is too amazing to pass up. He states that he wants to do long distance with me, but this will obviously come with some complications. I feel torn. I really want him to go, but I feel like I will be missing out on a huge chunk of his life. I'm also so afraid that he'll meet someone else or something else will happen that will tear him away from me. Please help. Oh, Lord. I mean, honestly, I get it. Like, he'll be gone for a year. I feel like a year you could do long distance. I don't know. I'm like, honestly, even though long distance didn't work for me at the time, me and my boyfriend ended up getting back together. So I still kind of see it as like a success. And we did like long distance. I mean, we broke up for a few months and then we got back together and we ended up doing long distance again for another like almost a year. Honestly, it probably was like a year because he still had another year left of school and we're still together. Okay? So we are, I feel like we're a success story, even if it's like a bumpy ride to get there, you know? So honestly, like, I feel like giving it a shot, because I feel like if you don't give it a shot, then you'll always be left wondering, like, what if it did work out and what if he's the one that got away? So I feel like it's worth it to give it a shot, even if it ends in like a terrible heartbreak. But that's how I feel. I feel like a lot of things are worth it to just try rather than like assuming that it's going to end badly, you know? Because what if it ends amazing? Like, I feel like that's kind of the difference between like glass half full and glass half empty, because what if it turns out to be even better than you ever expected, you know? That's how I always feel. Which, of course, there's always, like, the thing is with something great, there's always a risk that, like, it could end badly. There's always a risk with a lot of things. And I feel like if you don't just take risks sometimes in life, then you're just always going to be left wondering, like, well, what if I did that? What if I did do that? Like, sometimes it is worth the risk. And then even if it doesn't work out, you go through a heartbreak and that teaches you a lot. And I feel like there's nothing, like, it's not wasted. It's not wasted time. I feel like it's just all, that's life. And life is about learning and going through things and lessons, and it only furthers you like learning more about yourself. And long distance also is such like a struggle bus, but I feel like it can build you up if you go about it in the right way and like try to focus on yourself when you're long distance. I don't know, but let's see what the update is. All right, this is a year later. Well, it's been a full year and my boyfriend has been in Antarctica the entire time. Everything was fine until last week. He's been giving me one-word texts when he talks to me and gradually ignoring my text. Today I asked him why and if he's okay. I asked him if he's cheating on me. In Antarctica, all his friends have left, and now 100 new people he's never seen before are there for the new summer. He dropped a bomb on me today. He said he wants to take a break. I asked him if he met someone else. He answered with a hard no. He kept saying, I don't know why I'm acting like this, and then finally said, after months of complaining about wanting to leave, quote, Antarctica is such a special place. I can't describe how melancholy I feel about leaving. I don't have a job in place for when I get back. I don't want to go back. A part of me wants to stay here. Another part wants to go home, and another wants to go on an adventure by myself, unquote. I told him to sleep on it and call me back tomorrow, and also suggested that he's just having a bad day. Keep in mind that I've been living in his apartment for 11 months, moved out all of his stuff for him, and now I'm living with my parents and his dog. I have no idea what to do with the dog and his stuff, as they surely aren't mine. I'm also speechless that I put so much faith in this person and they just dropped a huge bomb on me just a couple of days before leaving. Please, does anyone have any advice? What should I do? I put my life on hold for this person, and I honestly don't know what to make of this new clusterfuck. Ew. Well, if he wants to take a break, I do not believe in breaks. Sorry. I just feel like that's a easy way out of breaking up with someone, because once you're taking a break, for the most part, one of those people, usually the person that suggests it, wants to break up. And it's just a way for them to feel less guilty, I feel like, because it's letting you down slowly, when in reality it's not. It's just break up. Just break up with the person. I mean, torture them any longer. You're scary. Don't do that. It's actually, don't lead someone on if you know that you don't want to be with them, and maybe you're questioning it. Just break up with them. You don't need to be, I don't know. I know things are complicated, and it's really, I have a lot of stuff is just so much easier said than done. So I can judge and be you should just break up. But stuff is complex. The mind is complex, and sometimes it plays games with us, and sometimes it's I don't know if I want to break up with them. So sometimes it's an easy way out for them to be well, I'll see how I feel when we're on this break, and if I feel relief, then that means I probably meant to break up with that person. But if I don't, then at least we're just on a break so I can get her back, I feel like that's usually the mindset. Okay. Another update. This is a month later. Let me start off by saying that I waited for this man for over a year to return home. While he was gone, me and my mom spent a ton of money to move out his stuff for him into a storage unit, and we also took care of his dog. When he returned home, I set up an Airbnb for us to stay in for 2 weeks. He was acting really mean to me the whole time, and I couldn't figure out why. He couldn't say that he loved me. He went to the post office one day and left his laptop open. I quickly searched through his messages because I felt that something wasn't right. About 2 weeks before leaving Antarctica, I found out he had started a relationship with a girl down there. He lied to her about my existence, and also lied to all of his friends by saying that I cheated on him. I'm trying very hard to get over this, but it's been awful. So awful. I still have his dog and some of his stuff, and we've ceased communicating with each other. I have already blocked any contact with him, but it still hurts so bad. I know he's living in town and will try to taint my relationship with our mutual friends. It's been about a week since the incident. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust anyone ever again. Advice? You will be able to trust someone again. It might be hard, but the right person, when they come in and they make they work on things with you, that you will. Don't even worry. I know it always feels like the world is ending and it feels terrible when it's happening, but trust, it's just a lesson learned and you'll be okay. Also, keep the dog, honestly. At this point, I feel like it's squatters' rights. That's your dog now. You've been taking care of him for over a year? Yeah. Squatters' rights. I know that doesn't apply to dogs, but hello? That's my dog. That is my dog. I wouldn't want to get rid of him if I was freaking taking care of him for that long. I would probably have such a strong connection with him. And then I'd be okay, well, this is my dog, so sorry. See ya. Someone said, what an asshole. With mutual friends, I would begin by broadcasting your story. As he was in Antarctica, you would not have been the only person in contact with him. If you would have suspected you of cheating, he would have said something. He did not. Moreover, As he was gone, those mutual friends would have known if you were cheating. He would have to come up with a story and the guy's name. To preserve your reputation, you have a good argument to convince others. Quote, he was acting really mean to me the whole time and I couldn't figure out why. Other than projecting his own guilt, there is a minority chance that someone lied to him and told him you were cheating. That's another thing to check out. And OP said that's not likely at all. He snaked his way through all of this, and an accusation was never ever brought up by him. We had a very open communication with each other. Anytime I had a concern of him cheating, he told me how much he loves me and reassured me so strongly. We were very solid, which is why it's so hard to swallow that this happened. Ugh. See, now I'm like taking back that I feel like she shouldn't have. I mean, hindsight is 2020, obviously, but like, I feel like she shouldn't have wasted her time. A year in a long distance relationship. She was with this man long distance longer than she was with him like in real life, and he did this to her. I'm sure he was probably cheating on her the whole time, honestly. Like at this point it's like, ugh, yucky. The top comment says they'd only been together for 8 months. That was an insane commitment to make at that stage. And then someone has said, especially at their stages of life, young, still in school, no way. Let each other go and see what happens when he gets back. If you're both still single, again, then what? Okay. That stage of life also means they're young and dumb. So all of this tracks. Isn't there a rule or something like don't make commitments longer than the length of your relationship? Yeah, yeah. I guess he's 26 and she's 24. Honestly, I was younger when I was in a long distance relationship, so whatever. It's so much easier to say, like, hindsight is so real because in hindsight, there's a lot of things in my life I would have done differently if I knew what I know now. Obviously, I think a lot of people, like, I don't regret anything ever, but there are things that I'd be like, girl, just, it's not gonna end well. Just let it go and don't even continue that. All right. The title of the next story is Caught My Girlfriend Cheating with My Coworker. This happened just a few hours ago and I'm still shaking with anger and disbelief. But deep down, I always knew. A few months ago, one of my coworkers was house hunting. By complete chance, the unit right next door to me and my girlfriend had just become available. We were friendly at work, nothing more, and I figured it would be convenient to have someone I knew living next door. I told him about it, and he moved in. As far as I know, the first time he met my girlfriend was at his birthday party. We both went. They barely interacted from what I saw. But it's funny. That was the first time they met, and I swear to God, from that night on, I felt something shift. I noticed them getting closer, more inside jokes, random texts, low-key vibes that didn't sit right with me. But anytime I brought it up to her, she'd go into full gaslight mode. Quote, "You're being paranoid. D, really? You think I'd cheat on you with your coworker? You have trust issues, not me." Unquote. Fast forward to this week, I had a short work trip scheduled. Supposed to be 3 days. I didn't tell my girlfriend the specifics, just that I'd be gone until the weekend. But the trip got cut short after just one day due to issues on the client's end. I figured, hey, I'll come back early and surprise her. I picked up her favorite takeout on the way home. I walked into the apartment around 8 p.m. The lights were low. I heard voices, hers and a man's, from the bedroom. I don't know how I stayed calm. I walked down the hallway and caught them together, my girlfriend and my coworker. I just stood there. I didn't even say much. I just turned around and walked out. I sat in my car for hours trying to process it. Still sitting in my car. Just wanted to share this somewhere. We live together, but that ends now. I can't stay in the same apartment with her, but the idea of her moving next door with him, that's the part that makes me feel physically sick. I feel so miserable right now. Edit, wow, thanks for the response. I'm surely taking the advice here. Just to answer one of the questions, if she had said something I didn't hear, it clearly was because I was numb. It felt like my entire system stopped functioning. But I'm sure Dee said, shit, and jumped out of the bed. I think she called babe and pulled the sheets over her body and probably ran her hand through her hair as she tried to stand up. It was a very ugly sight, honestly. The betrayal, but I know the look on her face wasn't apologetic. It was just surprised that I returned home after saying I would be gone for the rest of the week. LOL. I'll probably make an update post a few days later to tell y'all what decision I made. Currently just going to sleep at a friend's. I'll return home when I'm in a better headspace. Ooh, wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. Walking in on your, that's like so much worse than just finding out that someone cheated on you, having to see it for yourself. I mean, at least it would feel like more closure, but I feel like that would be just like a whole new level of trauma. It's like, that would be me. I would be picturing that in my head I'd be having nightmares about that. Like, I already have terrible nightmares all the time. So I can only imagine if I saw that happening, I would literally be having nightmares and I would not trust anyone for so long. So long. Yikety yikes. But there is an update. Caught my girlfriend cheating with my coworker. Update. OMG, got so many messages asking for an update. So I wanted to post one. I know it's been a month. I've not been able to because I didn't want to relive the memories of what happened. But I'm in a better space mentally, and now I can share an update. So here's what happened since. I officially ended things with her. The morning after I crashed at my friend's place, she texted me a few times asking where I was, if I was okay, if we could talk. Nothing resembling an apology, just damage control, like she's not even sorry about what she did. I didn't respond. Later that evening, I went back to the apartment when I knew she'd be at work, packed up my essentials, and left. Contemplating leaving a note, but on second thought, I was like, why the hell should I? So I just left. She tried calling me after that. I didn't pick up. She sent a few texts, mostly deflecting, trying to downplay what happened, claimed it was a one-time mistake. LMAO. I blocked her everywhere. Second day at work during lunch break, Dee pulled me aside for a talk. Thought it was going to be an apology, but nope. He straight up tells me he's not going to apologize because he likes my girlfriend. I swear it took everything in me to not punch him right then and there. If we weren't at work, I probably would have. But I kept my cool. I told him, you can have her. Even though inside I felt like dying. Then I looked him dead at the eye and said I'd be speaking to HR. Dee, the coworker, got transferred to a different team, so thankfully we don't see each other every day anymore. But like we run into each other from time to time around the office, break room, parking lot, whatever. Awkward as hell every time. Management told me they're working on transferring him to a different branch entirely as soon as there's an opening. Until then, they've made sure we're not on the same projects or in any shared meetings. I've got a new place lined up, crashing with my friend until then, but I signed a lease for a small studio. It's not much, but it's mine. And honestly, the peace of being out of that apartment is already doing wonders. Working and focusing on myself. Right now, I'm out of the dating game, not interested, not looking. I'm focusing on myself, work, healing, and just rebuilding from all of this. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to the Reddit strangers who had my back. It meant more than I can explain. If there's any silver lining in this mess, it's that I saw people rally around someone in pain, and that's a pretty damn human thing. Last thing, if you're reading this and feel like something's off in your relationship, trust your gut. You're not paranoid. You're not crazy if you ever sense a partner is cheating. 100% they are. Okay, maybe 99%, because I know my kings and queens that, have obsessive thinking and thoughts and intrusive, terrible thoughts. Do not want to hear that, because that can be very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, deafening. That can be very zooming. I don't know. Zooming. The top comment says, these two POS deserve each other. You're better off far away from her. I'm happy for you. You handled the situation perfectly. No shouting, begging, or listening to stupid excuses. You found out the truth and you cut the toxic waste out of your life. Healing will take time, but eventually you will move on and find someone better. I agree. Go off and go live your best life, because her karma will hopefully get her. Those are all the stories I have for today. I did want to chat about something, though, that's been on my mind. And, this is going to sound so stupid probably to people, but okay. So, recently I got, a random comment. And it was, honestly, very eye-opening. I was like, okay, I never even thought about this. So, I always tell you guys about my horse riding journey and my horse lessons. And, it's really weird because maybe I'm just naive. I am naive for sure. But I never really thought, this is going to sound so stupid. I never thought about the possibility that it could be unethical or immoral to ride horses. And someone commented a really nasty comment on my post on one of my videos of me talking about like my riding lessons and how, you know, you kick them in the sides to get them to go, but like that's how they're trained, and it's not like, I don't know. And like obviously I was talking about in the same sentiment in so many like episodes I've told you guys that I have a really hard time doing that because I feel bad, and my coach or instructor, whatever, I don't know what she's called, always tells me like to kick them harder because they don't feel it, because like was wearing really like soft tennis shoes or whatever. And then the girl commented like, and also she always gives me a crop, which is like a little stick kind of to like hit them on like the side with, and I rarely use it. I really wish she didn't give it to me because it's just like an annoying thing that I have to hold the whole time. And like I've used it like twice, and I always do it the lightest touch the lightest touch ever. And she's like, harder. And I'm like, I just don't do it. I just don't do it again because I'm like, no, whatever. He'll listen to me. Like, I don't want to like scare him into listening to me. I want to have like a relationship with him, but now I'm stressed, and I've been looking up and researching if it's immoral and unethical to ride horses because it's been stressing me out, because like that's the last thing that I want to do. But okay, the girl that commented, I blocked her, but I wish I could read the comment. It was just saying how like you say you love animals, but in the same sentence you talk about hitting them and kicking them in their sides, like they feel a fly land on their skin. They can obviously feel you kicking it. And why would you think like a horse would want you riding them and like on top of them or whatever? And all this stuff. And then I was like, honestly, rude comment to someone. Like, don't say that I don't love animals, because I do love animals, you bitch. Sorry. But like, I do love animals. Sorry, I was being naive. Yes. But and there were things that I definitely saw that were like a little bit of a red flag, but for the most part, they do treat their horses really well there, for what I can see when I'm there for 2 hours a week, you know? Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs, but from what I can see, it does seem like the horses are well treated and well cared for there, and like, so that's good. But yes, I've had 3 different instructors there, and I would say the one that I've been taking lessons with now, she's more educated and more like of an instructor than the other 2 were, but she's definitely more on the harsh side. And that's the part that does bother me and doesn't really sit right with me, because she's always telling me like, you need to be more aggressive, you need to be more assertive. They'll take advantage of you if you're not like assertive with them, which I understand to a certain extent, but it's like, I also am not going to like be, I'm just not the type of person that's going to be like an aggressive person. Like, I just can't, especially to an animal, when I literally cry at every animal ever. Like, I go to the shelter a couple times a month, usually to visit the animals, and I always cry. And especially when I'm going to look at the dogs, because the dog's condition is just always so much worse than the cat's. Like, ugh, it stresses me out. But I was literally there this weekend crying about the dogs, because I was looking at this dog, and he was like sitting in there, like, he looked, I don't even know, he looked so sad, and I was like so stressed. So I was crying in the shelter. But yeah, so love that. But yeah, so now I've been researching, and I know a lot of you guys are like very educated about horses, and a lot of you actually have ridden a lot or currently do ride horses. And I've heard a lot of comments from you guys, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. This is my 8th lesson this week, and I'll be done at this ranch. But the thing is like, I'm having a dilemma. So I'm trying out a new ranch that's nearby me, and I'm doing an introductory lesson with them this weekend to see, like, you know, if if I like it even, and if I feel like it's a good place, like a good barn and all that stuff. But I really, really love the horse that I ride at the current ranch that I'm at. I feel like we are like like forming a bond together. So I feel really bad, even though I know that a lot of other people probably ride him. I feel really bad. I don't want to leave him. Like, I feel like when I'm there, I'm sure other people give him good care as well, but I like that when I'm there, like, I'm in control. So I know that when I'm there, he's getting treated properly and well. And I always try to like give him the best care possible when I'm there. And like when I'm doing like brushing him and bathing him and making sure like I stand out after my ride, I like to give him like a lot of water from the hose. I like to let him graze for a while from the grass, and like I know that's good for them and stuff. So it's nice to know that like I'm in control of that and I can make a difference. And I feel like we're bonding. Like, I honestly feel like he knows me now. And I feel like he knows when I'm there. Because at first, he was, like, still a really good horse. Like, obviously, he's a lesson horse. So he's, like, one of the ones that have just, like, really good training and temperament. Because he was, like, the first horse I ever rode there. Or actually, he was the second horse I ever rode there. And he didn't really listen to me like the first 2 lessons, but then the last like 4 times I've ridden him, he's been such like so good and so very well behaved with me. And like I have not like I feel like I don't know. So I'm having a dilemma about switching ranches when I feel like I've developed a bond with this horse, even though it's not like my horse. So obviously at any point they could switch me like riding with a different horse, but I feel like they wouldn't. I don't know. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll do both. So let me know your thoughts on that, please, because I really need some like reassurance, and I'm like stressed because I really don't want to be contributing to like anything unethical when it comes to animals or anything for that matter, but currently talking about animals, and it's making me a little bit emotional. So please let me know because I'm going to cry. But anyways, that's all I really have to say. That's what's been heavy on my mind lately, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. So would love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you have any education about that. And I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Also, actually, sorry, I vlogged, and the link is in the description if you guys want to watch. I vlogged Saturday of me going to Dunkin', going thrifting, and going to the cat shelter. So if you want to see me crying about the dogs, go watch. Love you. Bye.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.